I never look down on people who have low qualifications like Keir Starmer. He got two B's and two C's at his paid for, we call it public school here in the UK, but ironically that means you paid for it. I know the school well. Now, people are calling him two-tier Starmer, and I've already said it's not. It's no policing and ultra policing. That's not two-tier, that's just ultra policing and no policing at all. So that's fake news. However, the reality is, he couldn't do the things that he's doing on his own, and he hasn't. He has the whole cabinet behind him. Arguably, he has the Conservative cabinet previous behind him as well, because they were kind of doing the same thing without it being so in your face. So when you have Elon Musk saying we're heading for civil war, let's just very quickly analyse why that I do feel. I mean, I've been saying the same thing for months, if not years. It's not Keir Starmer. You think he's at the top? No, he's not. In the scheme of things, looking on my phone here, it's like he's down here. The people up here, they are the ones that are in charge of him. He's a little puppet. They are in charge of him. They tell him what to do. They tell Trudeau what to do. They tell Ahern what to do. They've told everyone what to do, because they are the ones that are running everything into the ground, actually. And you know what my opinion is as to why they're running it into the ground, which is where you get the line civil war from, because it's gonna take place all over the place. They've tried it with the world and it didn't work. They've tried it with black, white, they've tried it with male, female. They're trying it all again now. It's all coming back in one big package. However, here in GB, okay, you've got Keir Starmer. He's painted a picture, hasn't he, that there is some far-right thugs, but we've got rid of them now, they're all jailed. Oh, it should be all right then, shouldn't it? Should be nobody protesting whatsoever. However, people are still protesting, aren't they? Normal people are protesting. I mean, if you throw a wheelie bin and you get 4 years, or you grin at a police dog and you get 18 months, why are these people still out on the street? Well, they're out on the street because we're all still pissed off. People are getting hacked to pieces, and it's only one lot of people doing it. But we know that. And they know it, and they know they can get away with it. And we know they can get away with it. We can't get away with looking at a police dog the wrong way. However, look at the big picture. You got Starmer, and he says, I want strict laws enforced. What laws? What, you say, well, I'm guilty for throwing a wheelie bin at nothing. It literally fell over in the road. I watched it live and it fell over in the road. And she picked it up again and it rolled a bit and then it fell over again. Police were yards away, or meters away. Really. So what about the judges? Judges are there to judge. You think so? I've already told you about a case that I know of. And the people said, we will bring this as a private prosecution. And the guy who was acting as the director of public prosecutions, though he wasn't, it was Barbara Mills at the time, but he was acting on her behalf because that's what they do. He said, I will take that off your hands and I will drop it. I said, you can't do that. And he said, yes, I can. That's British law. So when you think that you can actually bring something and you can sue these people for the crimes they've committed against you, you can't. Because the law will take it off your hands and simply drop it. They've got you every way. Effectively, there is no law. And you'll see this on other people's channels. Richard Vox, he talks about it with many people about the laws that we do have and the laws that we don't. And if you try to enact them in court, it very rarely pays off because, in effect, they're not adhering to their own laws. This is misconception that we have this wonderful British legal system, like the wonderful British NHS, and no, we don't. We don't have any of those things. You think they have, but we don't. So there you have Keir Starmer, and he's just acting like a tyrant, a dictator, because everything that he's done is what dictators do. So I am allowed to say that because he is acting like a dictator, which vis-a-vis makes you a dictator. There's very little else you can do. He's dictating what people do. So he's telling judges, this is a guy with 2 B's and 2 C's, he's telling judges who used to judge, they make judgments, and he's telling them, you give those people very strict sentences. There's no judging in it. They're not going, well, I realise you were a bit upset. I'm telling you, you absolutely do not do that again. If you do, you will end up in jail. That's all it would have taken. But no, bang, straight in jail. Why? Because they want to send the message to everyone else. We know what that message is. The message is that we are absolutely, totally out of our brains. We're not going to win. We are just literally waiting. This is when I say Gulag Archipelago. We are just waiting to be dragged out one at a time and locked away in those prisons that they've emptied. Why would you empty a prison of known dangerous criminals to put somebody in who's made a poster that you don't agree with, or who grinned at you the wrong way, or said, hey, don't throw that woman to the floor, then gets beaten up by a police officer literally on camera? They don't care. It's just the next point. A few years ago, I was chatting with a couple of police officers, and a very cordial chat, and about 2/3 of the way through, one of them says to me, I would vote for you. He said, I really like everything that you've said. Till I said I was in Greenpeace, which I was at the time. And then he said, I've lost all respect for you. When I subsequently came out with Greenpeace, ironically, I was coming out anyway. And I've already mentioned the story about that. They wanted me to do talks with them. No, because they would then employ me, and then they could threaten with sacking me. And this is how you get all the climate change rubbish and everything else as well. Because they threaten people. They get these people on board, they start paying them, and then they threaten them. So it's easy to work out. So all of these things that are happening. So you've got Starmer, who we know is acting the way he is because he's paid to. And then you've got the judiciary, who are acting the way that they're acting, very strangely. But I've already said, we do not have a legal system in this country. You think you have, it's bought and paid for. Then you've got the police who are enforcing it, and you kind of go, would the police, who I had this, I mean, I know police officers, I mean, you get them on the side, they're great. But they act in this certain way. And you think, why is that going on? But then you've got the media, and the media are bought. I mean, you know, it's a Soros Foundation and everything else. They just own everything. BlackRock, Vanguard, they own everything. So this is this propaganda that we're being fed. So we're fed that horrible propaganda. They feed it to you. And you go, well, what about the citizen journalists? Because they're the people now. Well, yes, they are. But we're all on social media, and social media is very regulated. There are loads of things that you can't say. And the things that Starmer is now introducing is that we can't say, and I can't say the things that I really want to say here. I'm really watering this down to virtually nothing. And then you've got, what about the people that are going along with it? How is it that they are going along with it and it's too easy? Well, they've been brainwashed. You know they have. And you keep hearing this. And my wife will say, oh, it's too big. There's too much in there. I don't want to know about all that. And I say, yes, one bit at a time you can take. But the whole thing just sounds like a ridiculous, you're just ranting on. But it's not. And it's so obvious. Now then, when you've got all of this going on, and all you other rainbow shite and everything else that is going on to get kids unbalanced and upset. When you've got all of this going on, what do you think is going to happen? Where do you think we are heading? Well, they've obviously got us against each other, because that's what they do, that's what they've done. You'll hear people say, oh, the Calgary plan and this, that and the other. And you go, yeah, there's a lot of truth in a lot of the things that you hear. And I heard a figure of 200,000. I've mentioned this before, 200,000 people left. You go, what? Want to get rid of all the rest? The WWF openly said they want world depopulation, not population reduction, world depopulation. There's only a couple of ways you can do it. You can bang out a few things that need medical treatment, And they've already announced the next one. How can they announce the next pandemic? It hasn't hit anywhere. It's isolated cases. But it's going to be a pandemic. Oh, I wonder how they arranged that one. Or you can starve people to death, and they've clearly been doing that. And you can seed the clouds and, stop the crops from coming in. And you can tell people that cow farts is killing us all off, which it isn't either. It's water vapour. We know they've done it really effectively. This is why you can't see any stars ever now during the day. When I was a kid, you could look up at the sky and you could see the moon and the sun's out, beautiful clear blue skies. You could actually see a couple of stars, and you don't see anything now. You just about to see them at night, so you know it's covered in shite. And you wonder why the likes of Elon Musk, highly intelligent guy, very successful, knows exactly what's going on and is in a position and had to buy a shit company like Twitter. I mean, it was just full of left-wing nut jobs. It was a cesspool of disgust and low moral, low intelligent creeps. But he bought it for billions. Oh, funny how that little bit of socialism worked for them, eh? So they ended up with loads of money and all buggered off somewhere. And he changed it. It's the only free speech platform left. And he did that to save the rest of us. There's very few people trying to save the rest of us. And Trump is one of them. You may hate him. I don't know why you'd hate him, because you're brainwashed. Yeah. So that whole system is against us. And you've got very few people fighting back. One of them is Musk. So when he says we are heading for civil WAR. We are. Everywhere is. You've got little enclaves, Hungary, the little places that are just holding out. And they're doing what's best for their people. And that's what everyone should do. I just wonder why all of these people are still coming over here. There's absolutely no reason for them to come in the first place. And there's nothing here for them when they get here. I've had plenty of them say to me, "You're a third world country. Back in Nigeria, I don't wait to see a doctor." And I go, "What did you come here for?" "Well, I was paid to come here." Some of them were paid like tens of thousands of pounds to come here. You think that's fake news? It's not, it's real. I've met these people, I work with them, every day. Because I work in care. If you don't know this, and you are opposing the people who are trying to stop what is going down now, which is your demise and my demise, if you're opposing that, and we call you clowns, what would you call yourself? It's not good.